Today, we're looking at Top Gun for the NES. Konami released Top Gun on the NES in 1987. Top Gun is loosely based on a 1987 movie with Tom Cruise. As a high-flying fighter pilot, you're a vital part of a task force defending against enemy attacks. Suddenly, bogeys appear, and you must quickly react with guns and missiles. The battle demands more than speed and firepower. You must be a Top Gun pilot to survive. Remember, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button as it helps out the channel grow. And don't forget to hit the notification button for all future videos. So, is Top Gun any good today? Here is our review of Top Gun for the NES. Now, there's no real story to Top Gun that sticks to the film's plot. You're a random fighter pilot, you're not Maverick from the movie, and there are 4 missions to complete. Before every mission, it tells you your objective on what you have to do, whether it's destroying an enemy aircraft or a space shuttle. That's all the story that's in this game. They should have followed the movie's plot, or at least be Maverick, with some cutscenes from the movie to have a little bit of a story. This game is a military flight simulator. The controls are really easy to learn. You use the D-pad to pilot your F-14 plane, press left or right to bank either direction, push up to dive towards the earth, and push down to climb higher into the air. You press the A button to fire your main cannon. Pressing down on the fire button repeatedly is required. You cannot just hold it down, but you do have unlimited ammo with this weapon. Pressing the B button once to lock onto the enemy craft, ship, or tank. Once locked on, you press the B button again to launch the missile. You press the start button to call on a refuel plane when you run low on fuel or missiles. This can only be done once per mission, but not the first mission. Every time you move the D-pad, the game compels you to go back where you were, because the game will compel you to return to your initial course if you let up. You must continuously press the D-pad in order to keep centered on the plane that you want to hit, even if you're not directly in your line of sight. Now, the notorious aircraft landing sequence, in which you must precisely position your plane to land or crash, has long been a source of criticism for this game. To tell the truth, the aircraft carrier landings are really not that difficult. If anything, they just take a long time to complete and are very detailed in their instructions. You have to follow them exactly. And it can be fairly simple once you realize you have to keep your height and speed at a certain level. So what exactly is trouble in this game? Refueling in the air, I actually have more trouble with this than landing. You have to refuel your tank halfway through the stages, not the first stage, but the second, third, and fourth stage, once you run low on fuel. You approach the fuel tank, observe the hose, and then you find it difficult to attach. Connecting it to the fuel hose feels like pure luck sometimes, and if you don't fill up, the tanker just leaves you high and dry, leaving you to crash once you've run out of gas. Now, this is not a graphical masterpiece here. One thing that is nice, however, is that Konami tried to create the illusion of being in the cockpit. Obviously, the illusion isn't all that great, but it is decent. At the bottom portion of the screen is a bunch of controls that shows your radar, missile count, and a bunch of other things. Enemy planes, subs, and other enemies are merely sprites on a screen, and rather bland sprites at that. Unfortunately, due to the NES's lack of power, that is all they are. Movement is represented by very noticeable changes in size, and there's nothing else to show movement. No vapor trails, no burning engines, nothing, just changing sprites. Gunfire is just a few small yellow splotches that go out from your screen, and then honestly though, I can't think of a better way to represent it here. Actually, it looks kinda cool when you are being fired upon, but maybe that's just me. Missiles look a little bit better, but they're not the greatest. Backgrounds are a little bland as well, and are usually just one solid color. However, Konami did add one more nice touch. Some small wisps of clouds fly by you quite often, which doesn't distract you from the game at all, but it still looks cool. Despite the game not being from the movie, they still decided to keep the Top Gun theme for the title sequence. Seeing that it was a pretty cool theme, I think that was a pretty good move. The Missile Selects theme is also pretty decent. Unfortunately, these are ones that don't count. What counts is the one you'll be listening to for a good portion of the game, and that's the gameplay music, and the music is just okay-ish. Sometimes it just seems like it's completely out of place. The sound effects are decent though. There's recognizable gunfire, missiles firing, and the sounds of fighter jets. So, is Top Gun any good today? The basic premise is actually pretty good. Who wouldn't want to be in the cockpit of an F-14 shooting down countless planes, ships, and tanks? The idea is practically perfect, but there are too many flaws with this game to make it a perfect game. Some of the gameplay problems are minor, but others are severe, and it really hurts the game. It seems quite low at times and hectic as others. I still have fun with this game, but it is a hard game, and sometimes you have countless of enemies at once. Trying to avoid them can be challenging. So for that, Top Gun for the NES is getting a 7 out of 10. That would do it for this review. What did you think about Top Gun for the NES? Please leave comments below to share your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you here in the next episode. Have a great day.